December 14th, 2012 began like any other Friday in Newtown, Connecticut. Parents dropped their kids off at Sandy Hook Elementary School, a place known for its warmth and nurturing environment. The air was filled with the usual morning chatter, the sounds of children laughing, and the quiet hum of a community starting its day. It was a picture of American suburbia, peaceful and predictable. But within a few hours, that peace would be shattered, and the name Sandy Hook would become synonymous with a national tragedy, a moment that would force a country to confront an unimaginable horror and ask questions that still haunt us today. Newtown was the kind of town where people moved to raise families. It was safe, tight-knit, a place where doors were often left unlocked. Sandy Hook Elementary, nestled among the woods and quiet residential streets, was at the heart of that community. Principal Dawn Hawksprang was known for her infectious energy, and the teachers were deeply dedicated to their students. On that particular morning, the school was buzzing with festive energy. The holidays were just around the corner. No one could have known that a shadow was approaching, one that had been quietly growing for years. The first 911 calls came in around 9:35 a.m. The initial reports were frantic and confusing. A dispatcher heard screaming in the background, a chaotic scene unfolding in what was supposed to be a sanctuary of learning. The first responding officers arrived within minutes, but what they were walking into was beyond comprehension. The school, which had just been a place of joy, had become a scene of profound devastation. As law enforcement secured the building, a grim reality began to emerge. The perpetrator was a 20-year-old former student named Adam Lanza. Before driving to the school, he had taken his mother's life at their home. He then forced his way into the building by shooting through a locked glass entrance. Armed with multiple firearms, he moved with a terrifying speed and purpose. The entire event inside the school lasted less than 11 minutes. In that short time, he took the lives of 20 children, all 6 or 7 years old, and 6 educators who died trying to protect them. The attack ended when he took his own life as police closed in. The story of that day is not just one of loss, but also of incredible courage. Teachers like Vicky Soto, who hid her first graders in a closet and told the gunman they were in the gym, sacrificing her life to save theirs. Principal Dawn Hawksprang and school psychologist Mary Sherlock, who ran towards the sound of gunfire in an attempt to stop the attacker. Caitlin Roig, a teacher who barricaded herself and 15 students inside a tiny bathroom, keeping them quiet and safe until help arrived. These were ordinary people who, in an extraordinary moment of terror, showed the very best of humanity. As the news broke, a wave of shock and grief washed over the nation and the world. For the parents waiting anxiously at a nearby firehouse, the day turned into an agonizing wait for information, a wait that ended with the most unbearable news imaginable. The identities of the victims were slowly released, and each name represented a universe of lost potential, a family shattered, and a community broken. There was 6-year-old Catherine Hubbard, who loved animals so much she made business cards for her own imaginary animal shelter. And Jesse Lewis, who reportedly shouted for his classmates to run, saving several of their lives before he was killed. Each story was a reminder of the innocence that was stolen. In the aftermath, the investigation tried to piece together a motive, to answer the impossible question, why? Investigators delved into Adam Lanza's life. They found a young man who was deeply isolated, struggling with significant mental health challenges, including anxiety and what some experts later suggested was an undiagnosed psychiatric condition. He had no friends, rarely left his house, and spent most of his time in his blacked-out bedroom playing violent video games and researching mass casualty events. His fascination with these events was meticulous and obsessive. Despite an exhaustive investigation by the Connecticut State's Attorney, no clear, simple motive was ever established. The final report concluded that Lanza was obsessed with mass shootings, but that his specific reasons for targeting Sandy Hook remained unknown. He had no criminal record and had not been diagnosed with a condition that would have predicted such violence. The report left a void where an explanation should have been, forcing us to accept that some acts of darkness are, perhaps beyond our full understanding. He acted alone, but his actions were enabled by easy access to incredibly destructive weapons, which belonged to his mother, a gun enthusiast who often took him to shooting ranges. The tragedy of Sandy Hook did not end on December 14, 2012. its aftershocks continue to this day. In the years that followed, the families of the victims were forced to endure not only their grief, but also a cruel and baseless campaign of harassment from conspiracy theorists who claimed the shooting was a hoax. These lies compounded their pain, forcing them to relive their trauma while defending the memory of their loved ones. Yet, out of this unimaginable pain, many of the families found a new purpose. They started foundations, advocated for legislative change, and dedicated their lives to preventing this from happening to others. The Sandy Hook Promise, a nonprofit founded by several of the victims' families, has been instrumental in creating programs that teach students and adults how to recognize the signs of potential violence and intervene before a tragedy occurs. Their work focuses on ending school violence by fostering connection and preventing social isolation. It's a mission born from the belief that even in the face of profound loss, it is possible to create a more compassionate and safer world. The original school building was torn down, and a new Sandy Hook Elementary was built in its place, a symbol of resilience and the community's refusal to be defined by that one dark day. What does the story of Sandy Hook teach us? It teaches us about the fragility of life and the depths of human cruelty. But it also teaches us about the resilience of the human spirit, the power of community, and the profound love that can emerge from the ashes of tragedy. The story is a reminder that the conversation around mental health, community connection, and the prevention of violence is not a political issue, but a human one. The names of the 26 victims at the school are a permanent part of our national memory. Their story is not just about how they died, but about how they lived, and about the love they inspired, a love that continues to fuel a movement for change. It asks us to look at our own communities, to see the people who might be struggling in silence, and to choose connection over isolation and empathy over indifference. Because the legacy of Sandy Hook is not just a memory of loss. It is a call to action, a quiet but persistent plea to build a better, safer world for all our children.